All right, good evening. Welcome to the WDSU News Hot Seat. I'm Gina Swanson. The Louisiana legislative session starts in a week in Baton Rouge, and as usual, the budget will be a big issue, a battle, if you will, between Democratic Governor John Bel Edwards and state lawmakers in a Republican-controlled House and Senate. Here tonight to go in depth on the upcoming session, two men who will play key roles on all spending issues. We have State Representative Gary Carter Jr. from Algiers. You know, it's my neighborhood. He sits on the Appropriations Committee. We also have State Representative Cameron Henry from Metairie, who chairs that same committee. So let's just jump right in, gentlemen, shall we?
Sure. Yes.
Thank you for being here with us tonight. Okay, so Representative Henry, for the last few years, we know that folks have been at odds with the governor over his budget. You know, the governor's even made threats, if you will, cutting spending for nursing homes or cuts to higher education. Do you foresee that kind of battle playing out this year?
Well, we'll always have lively debates about the budget. I mean, that's one of the, obviously a key part of the state, if not one of the most important. So I think the governor has his priorities, House members will have their priorities, and Senate members will have their priorities. We'll always have lively debates about it. If he decides to take it to a level where we call it the Chicken Little theory, then so be it. But I think it's good for that debate. I mean, members need to be able to express what they feel is important to their district and make sure that they can get enough votes one way or the other to try to pass some amendments or just move the process forward. But a healthy debate is a great thing for Louisiana, specifically when it comes to the budget.
I mean, are Republicans just at odds because of just different parties? Is this a political issue, or are there really substantive concerns about the budget?
Well, political party really doesn't play that big of a hand in Baton Rouge. It's really substantive of where we're going to spend the money. What are the priorities of South Louisiana versus North Louisiana or Central Louisiana, or the particular areas? And obviously, those are really the issues that drive things. It's not really driven by party. It really is driven by the priorities of members' districts.
After we saw all those threats, where's the budget stand right now? Are we operating in a surplus?
We do have a surplus. The budget that the governor sent us doesn't really work very well, so we had to file a different piece of legislation for the first time ever. But it looks like we'll have enough money, I believe, to go around to cover everybody's priorities, while also really being mindful that we have a sales tax rolling off in a couple of years that we have to start preparing for.
Representative Carter, we're going to bring you into the conversation, still talking about the budget. Do you feel that the strategies laid out by the governor are good proposals? If you do support, I guess, the governor, tell us why.
I do support the governor's proposed budget, and let's look at where we are now. 3 years ago, when you became chair of appropriations following the general years, 1 year we had a $1.6 billion deficit, $2 billion deficit, and now not only do we have a stable budget with our credit rating improving, now we're talking about how big is our surplus, whether or not our surplus on the very conservative side is $84, $85 million, or whether or not our surplus is $134 million. That allows investment in education, and that allows us to do teacher pay raises and invest in education and higher education throughout this state. So yes, I'm supporting the governor. Look at how he has turned the state around following the horrible years, following the general years. Well,
you heard Representative Henry say earlier that he didn't think that things were necessarily politically motivated when it came to these battles in the legislature. Why is it so difficult for Democrats to get things done?
Well, I think it's pure politics. I mean, we have a governor who's doing great, and he happens to be a Democrat, and he's one of the few Democratic governors in the South, and I think that's a large part of the resistance. You look at the governor's proposal, investing in education. That's something we all should agree on. We all should look at in a bipartisan way, what's best for our districts and what can we do to better the state of Louisiana. And I'm glad this governor has put politics aside and focused on the people of the state.
Question for both of you guys. How would you characterize the tenor of this upcoming legislative session, given that this is an election year? Sometimes you see heightened drama, if you will, during an election year. What's your thought on that?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of members, it is a re-election year, but that doesn't mean you're not supposed to do your job. I mean, you're elected for a 4-year term, so your constituents expect you to go there and work hard. I think some members may feel a little bit more pressure to vote for things that maybe they wouldn't before, or maybe just do a lot of standing back, just kind of sit on the sidelines and try not to get in, I guess, vote one way or the other, not trying to get in too much trouble back home. But I think, you know, you can't really, that's not what you're elected to do. You got to go out there and fight for your district and make sure you put the state in the best posture.
Representative Carter, any heightened sense of drama headed into the legislative session?
No, I don't think so either, and I agree with Chairman Henry. I think everyone's focused on doing the work at hand. We have to pass a budget. We have to address some very serious issues in the state of Louisiana, and there'll be a time for politics, but right now we have serious work ahead as we approach this legislative session.
You know, a lot of people have been working in the legislature for years at this point in this upcoming election. What does it mean, if anything at all, that almost 70% of lawmakers are termed out this time around? I mean, will that play a role in the session at all?
Well, I think you'll have some members, you know, especially the ones that aren't going to do anything else. If they're not running for the Senate, and some Senate members are running back for the House, I think you're going to see members try to, if they don't have a legacy they feel is worthy of their time in the legislature, maybe try to pass some bills that last time in session to really put their name or mark on the state. I think you'll see things like that. For most other members, look, I think term limits are a great thing. It's better for the state, and I would hope my colleagues feel the same way.
The only thing I would add is we're going to lose a lot of institutional knowledge. We're going to, Walt Legge's term limited, Neil Abramson, we lost Helena Moreno, got elected to the city council. So we're losing a wealth of knowledge. But I think I'm excited about some of the fresh air that's coming in. I look at some of the people running for office, and I'm excited about the new freshman class for this coming up session.
Well, I was talking about the session. Is there a big priority for the Black Caucus? What's the big, I guess, legislative agenda?
Well, for the Black Caucus, there's so many things we have to focus on. We have to focus on education. We have to focus on criminal justice reform. We have to focus on mental health treatment. We have to focus on health care. We don't have the luxury of being able to sit back and saying this one issue is our priority. We have to do economic development. We have to do education. We have to do criminal justice. So many things we have to do. And that's why being in the legislature is such a good opportunity, because we're able to address the state in a holistic sort of way.
Representative Henry, any one big item on the GOP legislative agenda?
I would say, I mean, not specifically as a GOP agenda item. I think as a body, we want to have the budget in the most stable and best possible position moving forward, really preparing ourselves when the taxes that we've raised roll off. I think that's a big piece of a long-term plan for the state.
All right, we've seen some high-profile issues in both the Republican and Democratic Party just in recent weeks. Any comment on the arrest of GOP Executive Director a week and a half ago?
Well, obviously, it's an unfortunate incident. It's really a private matter between him, his wife, and obviously the New Orleans Police Department or whatever law enforcement was involved in that. It happened on his wedding night, so obviously that's something he will remember for the rest of his life. I'm sure he regrets it today, but that's about as much as I know about it.
Representative Carter.
I haven't even heard about it, so I can't comment. It sounds like a very unfortunate incident.
An issue I'm sure both of you have heard about. The head of the state Democratic Party, Karen Carter Peterson, publicly admitting that she has a gambling addiction. I know that a lot of people have expressed support of her on a personal level, but when it comes to her job in the legislature, should she continue to vote on key gaming legislation? Is that anything you've given any thought to?
Well, I mean, that's really that's up to Senator Pearson and Senator Alario that really controls that. You know, that's really up to her personally. I mean, it's not something for me to comment on. If she feels comfortable doing it, if her Senate colleagues feel comfortable with her doing it, then that's her choice. To me, it's a private matter between her and maybe Senator Alario. It's again unfortunate. We hope she gets better, moves, you know, kind of gets in a better spot. But that's about as far as we're going to go.
She's great. I stand by her. She's been a mentor to me in the legislature. She has a wealth of knowledge. I've never seen any questions whatsoever about her judgment or her ability to make decisions or votes. She has you talk about term limits and how we're losing so many people. We have people like Senator Carter, Karen Carter Peterson, who has this wealth of knowledge, and I have no questions whatsoever about her ability to continue to serve Louisiana well.
All right, guys, final question for you guys. Talking about the legislative session, any priorities specifically for Jefferson Parish and the people you represent in your district?
Well, Jefferson Parish always has issue with drainage. That's a big piece of the puzzle we're always looking towards, and economic development, lower taxes. Those are the three things we're going to push for.
And Representative Carter, anything big for Algiers or out of New Orleans?
Certainly. I mean, economic development is always key. How do we grow jobs? How do we better our schools? And how do we also make certain that we're ready for hurricane season and our sewage and water board system is up and running fine?